Install very local. The latest news from News Center 5.
Hello, everybody. Maria Stefanos.
And I'm Ed Harding.
Boston's most accurate forecast.
Rumble of Thunder.
And New England's favorite, Chronicle.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Where to go.
Perfect day trip.
What to eat.
Good stuff. So good.
Where to get away.
Worth the trip.
All of Chronicle ready when you are.
I can't wait to try it.
Do it.
Right on your smart TV. Install very local on your Roku or Amazon Fire TV.
This week, stop and shop for great deals. 85% lean ground beef value packs are $2.99 per pound with a digital coupon. And earn 400 gold points when you buy 3 General Mills products. Stop and shop. Feed the moment.
Celtics tip off an NBA doubleheader Sunday at 1 on Channel 5.
Tonight, a special edition of World News Tonight. Russia's horrific escalation of attacks inside Ukraine and what authorities said could have been the worst nuclear disaster in Europe. Russian forces shelling the largest nuclear power plant in Ukraine, the largest in Europe. Fire breaking out near 6 nuclear reactors. Russian troops seizing the plant after a fierce firefight. And tonight, across Ukraine, the Russian military targeting civilians. A missile strike destroying an apartment building. Reports dozens have been killed. A school bombed, the search for possible victims. And tonight, in the capital of Kyiv, Ukrainians sheltering underground. And new 3D images tonight of that massive Russian convoy outside Kyiv. What the pictures now reveal. And tonight here, Ukraine's President Zelensky issuing a message to the world. Thousands listening in Prague. Zelensky with a warning for all of Europe. If we will fall, you will fall. Ian Pannell standing by live in Kyiv tonight. And Matt Gutman in Lviv with civilians turned fighters, mothers and fathers, and how they're preparing to fight the Russians. Tonight here, the humanitarian emergency worsening. The UN now says more than 1.2 million refugees, half of them children. Tonight, we're on the buses filled with families escaping war. The families who are told to pick which country they'll live in next. And the emotional message tonight to the fathers they left behind. Tonight, the Kremlin launching an alarming crackdown on journalists in Russia. A new law making it a crime to report, quote, fake news, anything the government doesn't agree with. The last thing they played on the air at the independent Russian TV station before they walked out. Back at home tonight, gas prices soaring, jumping 26 cents in just 1 week. But the surprise today when it came to American jobs. In New York City tonight, the major headline on the pandemic and masks. And back here tonight, the powerful image that says it all. A father and the 5-year-old daughter in the window. And a note here about our special right here later tonight.
From ABC News, this is a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from the Poland-Ukraine border.
And good evening tonight from the Ukraine-Poland border. The humanitarian crisis unfolding here and the Russian war inside Ukraine escalating tonight. Bombing civilian targets, the horrific images coming in, and the major fire at the largest nuclear power plant in Ukraine and in all of Europe for that matter, sparking worldwide alarm for many hours about the potential for a radiation leak. Tonight, Russian forces are now in control of that facility, and international authorities say there has been no leak. But it was a frightening scene, the fierce firefight at that nuclear power plant, the fire just 1,500 feet from 6 nuclear reactors. Emergency crews dousing the flames. By daybreak here, the Russians were in control of that plant. And tonight, attacks on civilian targets mounting. These images from social media, the aftermath of a devastating attack on a high-rise apartment building north of Kyiv. At least 47 people reportedly killed. Tonight, our team in Kyiv, aware of Ukrainians seeking shelter underground in the capital there, and we have new images of that convoy of Russian military vehicles, at one point more than 40 miles long, right now about 17 miles out from the capital, what the new images now reveal. And inside Russia tonight, the Kremlin's assault on free speech, blocking Facebook and Twitter, and a new law. Journalists now facing up to 15 years in prison for so-called fake news. Anyone spreading what the government deems as, quote, false information, potentially for using words like war and invasion. And just tonight, Ukraine's President Zelensky addressing large crowds in Prague and across Europe and the world. And his warning saying, if we will fall, you will fall. We do have several new developments tonight. We begin here with ABC senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leading us off again tonight from Kyiv.
Tonight, A ferocious attack on an apartment building just outside Kyiv. In videos circulating online. The Russian onslaught taking a terrible toll on civilians. Here, another attack on an apartment complex in Chernihiv, a city north of Kyiv. The aftermath seen in video posted on social media. 47 people killed, according to the emergency services. In another city west of the capital, a school was destroyed by Russian rockets, according to Ukraine's president, who said the Russians do not stop at anything. It's not clear yet if there were casualties. And tonight, after a fierce firefight, Russian troops have control of Europe's largest nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine. The fire ignited at the facility, triggering fears around the world of a potential nuclear disaster. A satellite map of the site shows the flames were located in an area only about 1,500 feet away from the plant's 6 reactors and pools where spent fuel rods are cooled, although not all of them were active. But nuclear scientists calming fears, and this morning the fire was out and radiation levels reported to be normal. The entrance to the plant littered with the debris of the battle fought here. President Zelensky saying today, we survived a night that could have stopped the history of Ukraine, the history of Europe. And in the capital itself, the ever-present dangers escalating today.
These air raids are going off around the city every half an hour or so. We're just heading down into a metro station where a lot of residents are now living and spending the night. It's an eerie sound. And as this war closes in, the fear is that what is going to be followed by is bombardment of the city.
Satellite images show the size of this enormous Russian convoy that's been stalled for days about 17 miles outside the city. The Pentagon says attacks by Ukrainian forces, who've also blown up a bridge along the way, have slowed the Russian advance.
We do believe that the actions by the Ukrainians have in fact stalled that convoy and certainly slowed it down, stopped it in some places.
There are fears Russia's planning to launch an amphibious assault on the Black Sea port of Odessa to cut Ukraine from the sea and international shipping. As he's done in previous wars, Putin has shown every sign he'll continue to attack civilian areas with disregard to the costs. A warning echoed by US Secretary of State Blinken in Brussels.
The suffering we've already seen is likely to get worse before it gets better for as long as Russia pursues these methods.
But tonight, in a message broadcast to thousands of people gathered in cities across Europe, Zelensky called for solidarity with Ukraine in the fight ahead.
That was an extraordinary sight not long ago. Ian Pannell back with us live tonight from Kyiv. And Ian, I know you were underground in the shelters today. Just knowing people are still seeking shelter underground speaks volumes of the fear, the realization of what could still be coming for the capital of Ukraine. And you also have news tonight of more weapons coming from the U.S.?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, thousands of people are essentially cowering underground overnight. Some men, but mainly women, children and the elderly. Many of these bunkers were built to withstand a nuclear war. They're deep underground and people have had to now live this subterranean life. And you're right, extra weapons now heading this way from the United States. Not just these Javelin anti-tank missiles, but also these sophisticated Stingers. These are anti-aircraft missiles, something the administration had been reluctant to send over to Ukraine, but in a mark of support for the Ukrainian government, they're now heading this way. David?
Ian Pannell leading us off tonight from Kyiv. Ian, thank you. Your reporting has just been incredible. Meantime, back here where we are tonight, the humanitarian crisis only worsening. More than 1.2 million refugees now. Half of them are children. Tonight here, we take you on the buses with the families who are told to choose which country they will now live in. And the moving moments here when we ask the children about their fathers back in Ukraine fighting the Russians. They are unmistakable. The sirens on the Ukraine border. The police escort for the buses filled with frightened Ukrainians who are escaping war. Guards securing the site in Poland where they pull in. You can see the buses pulling in one after another. These are all Ukrainian families fleeing their country, coming just across the border here into Poland. On board these buses, we hear story after story about the mothers and their young children and the fathers who they have left behind to fight against the Russians. Don't rush off the bus, she says. Please, no panicking, and keep an eye on your children. Another guard waiting to help. On board so many of the refugees are children. More than 500,000 child refugees alone. Lifting up this boy, a mother and her sleeping baby, and their one bag of belongings. She gets help with her baby. The guard holding him. And then back to mom. She whispers, "Don't worry, mommy's here." She kisses her baby. So many mothers and their young children carrying them for much of this journey. And we find a boy with the superhero backpack. Are you a Superman? Yeah, you're a Superman. Zahar tells me he's 5. Oh, you're 5. You're 5? He tells me they took a train and then a bus. He also tells me his father is fighting in the war. Your father is still at the war? Your son told me that his papa is fighting against the Russians. What did you say to him before he left? She tells me he told them to go because it was terrible. They could hear the missiles. The Russians were firing all around them. How do you explain this to your children? What do you say to them? She says, my 8-year-old daughter is old enough to understand the danger. Wiping her tears, she holds her. A kiss to her forehead. As you can see, there's just a crush of families here who have just arrived from Ukraine. This is the shelter that they have set up here, at least in the short term, to try to get these families some answers. This young woman, a volunteer, telling them they will now choose a country where they will go next. Germany, Austria, Italy. We see the line of people listening to her, realizing they must choose now where they're going to live. She was telling you all of these places you can go. Have you thought about that, where you want to go? She tells me they're planning to go to Vienna. Can you believe that you're being forced to choose another country to go to? I want to be away from the danger, she says, so I can have my children live in peace. A son hugs his mother after what he's heard. The tears of a mother, yeah. Their father staying back too to fight the Russians. Do you worry about your husband? Yes, she says, but he told us to go. You thinking about your father? Very much, he tells me. I'm having a hard time. I love him. Watching it all, his younger sister, Zlata. Please be safe. Please be safe. And with so much need here, that young volunteer who came from Germany helping these families, revealing to me one of the things they need most right now.
The problem is that we can't find drivers who drive to the countries. That's the only problem we have. So we really need drivers.
To get them there.
Yeah.
These buses picking up many of the refugees who walked here, crossing the border. Through the window, we see the families who came on foot, pushing strollers, the children walking. The long exodus for so many of these Ukrainian families who say their journey has been days long. Mothers carrying their children, the boy carrying his dinosaur. They come by foot, by bus, and by train. And at the train station, the emotion on their faces when they make it, realizing all they've left behind and the unknown ahead. The little girl wearing hearts and holding her unicorn, her mother holding her. We have seen so many images just like that one, children holding their favorite stuffed animal, the one stuffed animal they brought with them, and of course the mothers holding their children. I know many of you at home have reached out to me on social media asking how you could help in this humanitarian effort. So we have put a link on our website. You can go to unicefusa.org/ABC. Well, tonight, the White House says it is deeply concerned about the threat to freedom of speech inside Russia. There has been a new crackdown tonight. The Kremlin and Parliament now threatening reporters with up to 15 years in prison for spreading what they call, quote, fake news, potentially outlawing words like war or invasion. And tonight here, the last thing the independent TV station played before they walked out. Mary Bruce at the White House.
Tonight, the White House says it is deeply concerned about Russian plans to block access to Facebook and threats to freedom of speech as the Kremlin is now cracking down on the press. Vladimir Putin signing a law tonight making it a crime to spread what the Russian government considers fake news about the conflict in Ukraine. The maximum penalty, 15 years in jail. Independent Russian news outlets have always found it difficult to operate. Now it's impossible. The staff at Moscow's last independent TV station walking off set as their final symbolic broadcast played out. Swan Lake, the ballet that played on state TV at the fall of the Soviet Union. Some Western networks, including ABC News, are now not broadcasting from the country.
We don't want to find that out the hard way by finding that someone has said something which we believe to be true or used words which are now outlawed, like war or invasion, and find that we're then punished in a completely draconian and unacceptable way.
More than 8,000 anti-war protesters have been detained across Russia in the last week, according to an independent report. They too could face up to 15 years in jail. But Putin's support does run deep, as our James Longman saw.
So you don't believe that Russia is invading Ukraine at the moment?
Of course I do not believe it. It's nonsense, she says. If it was needed, Russia would have captured Ukraine a long time ago.
Mary Bruce joined us from the White House tonight. And Mary, we've now seen several news organizations pause their own broadcasting from Russia. And of course, we know that includes ABC News.
David, because of this new censorship law passed in Russia today, we are now seeing some Western networks, including CNN, Bloomberg, and the BBC, and of course our very own ABC News team, now not broadcasting from Russia. An ABC News spokesperson adding, quote, "We will continue to assess the situation and determine what this law means for the safety of our teams on the ground." The White House tonight telling me the Russian people deserve to know about the death and destruction being inflicted by their government on the people of Ukraine. David.
But yes, the safety and security of our team is paramount. Mary Bruce live at the White House. Mary, thank you. Meanwhile, as they crack down on any dissent in Russia, in Ukraine, families turn fighters, civilians, mothers and fathers, now practicing getting ready for the Russians, how they're going to fight them, and they showed our Matt Gutman the way. Matt reporting again from Lviv tonight.
Tonight, a tense moment at a checkpoint. Guns are pointed. It's a dry run by civilians preparing to fight and take on the Russians.
The men with the guns are actually former teachers, brewers, welders. They're now the new inductees into this militia, trying to fight back.
In an insurgency in its infancy, citizens now gather in bomb shelters to learn how to assemble and disassemble AK-47s and stash Molotov cocktails around town.
On your knees together. And 10.
Students learn how to carry the wounded. And a mother cinches tourniquets.
You're someone who was doing programming for mobile phone games, and now you're doing this. Is it surreal?
Yes, sometimes it's like I just want to drink enough coffee and waking up from this, but I don't.
And this nightmare is real. As missiles fall, rescuers carry the wounded, cries ringing out across Ukraine. We were invited into this sprawling checkpoint. Concrete bunkers, coils of concertina wire, ramparts of sandbags.
We built this. With your wives, your parents, and children, you built all of this. Yeah. The sandbags, the drums.
Yeah, from the one base.
Oleg is one of the civilian commanders here.
They want to show us something right now. What is that? A mine? These are mines. So do they work still?
Yeah.
So this is to what, blow up Russian tanks?
Yes.
And David, those fighters, men and women, telling us they can't fend off the Russians with just Molotov cocktails and old Soviet mines. They need weapons and they need training. David.
Matt Gutman live in Lviv tonight. Matt, thank you very much. In just a short time from now, a special live edition of 2020, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, will be here on the Poland-Ukraine border with our team of correspondents across the region and in Ukraine, and of course back in Washington as well. We asked some big questions tonight. Of course, where does this go from here? What is Vladimir Putin's endgame? What's driving him? And the story of President Zelensky and his resilience inspiring his country and the world. Tonight, Putin's war, the battle to save Ukraine, the Ukrainian people, and their resolve. That it's 8 p.m. Eastern, a little more than an hour from now. But in the meantime, when we come back here tonight, the major news at home in New York City, the significant new headline on COVID tonight, and gas prices soaring, jumping 26 cents in a week. And yet the surprising headline today about American jobs.
Age-related macular degeneration may lead to severe vision loss. And if you're taking a multivitamin alone, you may be missing a critical piece. Preservision. Preservision AREDS 2 contains the only clinically proven nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Preservision is backed by 20 years of clinical studies.
And it's from the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb.
So ask your doctor about adding Preservision and fill in a missing piece of your plan.
Like I did with Preservision.
If you have COPD, ask your doctor about Breztri. Breztri gives me better breathing and helps prevent flare-ups. Before Breztri, I was stuck in the past. I still had bad days. Flare-ups, which kept me from doing what I love. My doctor said, for my COPD, it was time for Breztri. Breztri gives you better breathing, symptom improvement, and helps prevent flare-ups. Like no other COPD medicine, Breztri was proven to reduce flare-ups by 52%.
Breztri won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. It is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Don't take Breztri more than prescribed. Breztri may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
If you have COPD, ask your doctor about Breztri.
Tonight, the fallout from the war in Ukraine impacting gas prices at home. The national average now $3.84 a gallon. It could hit $4 next month. 8 states already there tonight. California topping $5 a gallon for the first time. But there is some promising news tonight on American jobs. The U.S. adding 678,000 jobs in February, more than expected. Unemployment ticking down to 3.8%. When we come back here tonight, the major headline in New York City involving COVID.
Maybe it's another refill at your favorite diner, or waiting for the 7:12 bus, or Sunday afternoon in the produce aisle. These moments may not seem remarkable, but at Pfizer, protecting the regular routine and every day drives us to reach for exceptional. Working to impact hundreds of millions of lives, young and old. It's what we call the pursuit of normal.
It starts with little things, little things.
Yes. Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser-measured floor liners, no-drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Thinkorswim equips you with customizable tools, dedicated trade desk pros, and a passionate trader community sharing strategies right on the platform. Because we take trading as seriously as you do. Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade.
I've made progress with my mental health. So when I started having unintentional body movements called tardive dyskinesia, I ignored them. But when the twitching and jerking in my face and hands affected my day-to-day, I finally had to say, it's not okay. It was time to talk to my doctor about Austedo. She said Austedo helps reduce TD movements in adults, while I continue with most of my mental health medications.
Austedo can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have suicidal thoughts. Common side effects include inflammation of the nose and throat, insomnia, and sleepiness. Don't take Austedo if you have liver problems, are taking Rezapine, tetrabenazine, or valbenazine. Austedo may cause irregular or fast heartbeat, restlessness, movements mimicking Parkinson's disease, fever, stiff muscles, problems thinking, and sweating.
Talk to your doctor about Austedo. It's time to treat TD. TD is not okay. Visit askforaustedo.com.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, you can take advantage of $0 virtual visits.
Wow.
$0 copays on virtual visits for primary care and mental health. Take advantage now.
Wow.
Well, tonight, New York City is a big step closer to emerging from this pandemic. Mayor Eric Adams lifting the school mask mandate for more than 1 million public school children beginning Monday. Indoor businesses, including restaurants, bars, gyms, and theaters, will no longer need to require proof of vaccination. That is good news indeed. When we come back here tonight, a very powerful image from right here in the region, the father and his young daughter.
Welcome to the lifestyles of the smart and savvy. When it comes to saving money, the Marshalls are masterful. But back in the day, that was not the case. Today, savings is what drives them. That's why they chose Consumer Cellular.
You live and learn.
They get the same premium coverage as the nation's leading carriers for half the cost. Imagine talk, text, and data starting at $20 a month. Plus, AARP members get exclusive discounts. Switch today and get $25. Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible plan for cash flow designed to last, so you can go from saving to living.
Since I left for college, my dad has gotten back into some of his old hobbies, and now he's taking Trulicity, and it looks like he's gotten into some new, healthier habits, too.
What changes are you making for your type 2 diabetes? Maybe it's time to try Trulicity. It's proven to help lower A1C. It could help you lose up to 10 pounds. And it's only taken once a week, so it can fit into your busy life. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. The choices you make can help control your A1C. Ask your doctor about once-weekly Trulicity.
It can be easy to steal your identity. Now, it can be just as easy to help protect yourself. LifeLock helps detect identity threats. If there's a problem, we work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com.
With thyroid eye disease, my whole world became about my eyes. I hid my bulging eyes, and double vision made things look like this. But then my doctor recommended Tepezza, a prescription medicine that treats thyroid eye disease. With my symptoms under control, things are really opening up.
In a clinical study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza saw improvements in double vision, and more than 8 out of 10 patients had less eye bulging. Tepezza is an infused medicine. Patients taking Tepezza may experience infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you have symptoms such as high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before receiving Tepezza, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise your blood sugar even if you do not have diabetes, and may worsen IBD such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis.
My world is more than just my eyes.
Ask your doctor about Tepezza and visit mytepezza.com to see Jeannie's before and after photos.
This is the story of Elizabeth Holmes.
And you got intrigued to see fantasy. It can't peel your eyes away.
Now, as Elizabeth Holmes awaits sentencing, what you haven't heard.
I was blown away.
The new 2020 tonight on ABC.
Before we go tonight, a moving image that speaks volumes. A father and his 5-year-old daughter saying goodbye at the train station in Kyiv, their hands pressing against one another at the window. She and the family are leaving the country. Of course, he's staying behind to fight. Thank you for watching. I'll be back in 1 hour for a special live edition of 2020, Putin's War, the battle to save Ukraine. Many of your questions answered. 8 p.m. Eastern. Good night.
WCVB News Center 5 at 7 starts right now.
Right now at 7 as we come on the air, honoring a fallen hero. State Police Trooper Tamar Bucci killed in a crash on 93 as she stopped to help a driver.
Sky 5 Live outside Mass General. Fellow law enforcement officers gathering to escort Trooper Bucci's body to the medical examiner's office.
American flags ordered to half-staff today at all state buildings. The governor saying that Trooper Bucci embodied, and I'm quoting here, the best of the Massachusetts State Police. Thanks for joining us at 7 tonight, everyone. I'm Ed Harding.
And I'm Shayna Seymour. Live pictures of the Zenka Bunker Hill Bridge. It's one of several area bridges, including the Longfellow in Boston, the Fore River Bridge in Quincy, and the Burns in Worcester that will be lit in blue lights in memory of Trooper Bucci.
Right now at 7 o'clock, we have live team coverage. Let's start with our John Atwater, who's live at the medical examiner's office with the latest on the investigation tonight at 7. John?
And Ed, that procession, it will bring the trooper's body here to the medical examiner's office tonight. This crash, it was just terrible and claimed the life of a woman who was dedicated to her job.
Trooper Bucci is not just a co-worker to us. She is our sister, and we are heartbroken by this devastating loss to our membership.
Tonight, troopers are mourning the loss of one of their own killed in the line of duty.
Getting reports of a trooper struck by a tractor-trailer unit.
Overnight, investigators say Trooper Tamar Bucci's cruiser was hit by a tanker truck carrying 10,000 gallons of fuel. With her emergency lights flashing, they say she was trying to change lanes on I-93 northbound in Stoneham to help a driver stopped on the side of the highway. 5 Investigates has learned that tanker truck was traveling in the right-hand lane when it hit the trooper's cruiser. The collision sent it into a rock cliff on the side of the road.
2 Good Samaritans were passing by in their vehicle. They stopped and pulled Trooper Bucci from the heavily damaged cruiser, and a Stoneham police officer who came upon the scene performed emergency first aid.
Sadly, those Good Samaritans could not save the trooper's life. As state police investigate the circumstances leading up to the crash, P.J. Murphy Transportation, which owns the truck, says it's actively working with investigators. And, of course, that investigation is ongoing. At this point in the investigation, no one is facing charges. We're live in Boston tonight. John Atwater, WCVB News Center 5.
John, thank you. Trooper Bucci is survived by her parents, 4 siblings, and thousands of brothers and sisters in blue. And tonight, her alma mater is paying tribute. Mary Saladna continues our team coverage from Andover High School. Mary?
There's definitely a heaviness in the air here. It was 16 years ago that Tamar Bucci got her diploma here at Andover High. The 2006 yearbook